Hey everyone, finished watching the first episode of Power Rangers SPD, Beginnings, Part 1. We open in space. A mush-mouthed villain is departing a conquered planet, destroying it as he leaves. Next up on Earth, we get narration explaining that it's the future and that Earth is a haven for countless aliens. A special group, Space Patrol Delta, is in charge of enforcing law within the alien criminals. We see SPD in pursuit of an apparent thief. One of the three SPD cadets, Bridge, waves his hand, revealing his ability to see recent events. Where he waved his hands, he can see a memory-like shadow of where the thief went. Sid, another SPD cadet, has the ability to turn her fist into metal, smashing the crate the thief is hiding behind. Sky, the last of the SPD cadets, uses a force field to knock the thief back. After a fight, the cadets subdue the thief. We're then introduced to Cat Manx, a feline-like alien superior of theirs. It's revealed that the chase was a training simulation. The cadets are training to be B-Squad Power Rangers. The alien thief was played by Cat's assistant, Boom. At SPD headquarters, we meet Commander Kruger, a dog-like alien. He knows that the villain from the beginning of the episode is heading for Earth. Boom meets with the cadets. He's in a cast for a dislocated shoulder. For some reason, Cat included a destructive laser on the cast. It goes off, creating a mess, probably the best possible outcome. He could have easily killed someone. What practicality did that laser serve? Kruger briefs the higher-ranking Rangers A-Squad on their latest mission. As they leave, Bridge says he senses something off about them. Kruger tells the cadets that they're getting new responsibilities. There's some thieves on the loose, and they're being sent to stop them. They happen upon them almost immediately. The thieves appear to be human, a young man and a young woman. The woman creates a double that distracts the cadets and allows for their escape. The cadets catch up with the thieves, but the thieves are remarkably talented fighters. The young man is cornered, but reveals his own ability. He can phase through walls. The thieves manage to get away. At SPD headquarters, Kruger talks over with the cadets about what happened. The thieves from earlier are giving away what they stole. We learn that they're Robin Hood-esque thieves. The young woman, Z, wants to stop and find something else to do. Their conversation is interrupted by an old woman alien approaching them. The young man, Jack, apologizes to her, saying that they're out of handouts, but then he gives her his jacket. Back at SPD headquarters, Kruger talks with Sky about making him and the cadets rangers. Sky thinks only he is qualified to be leader. Sid is a girl, and Bridge just isn't a leader. We see the villain from earlier again. He's on the other side of a wormhole in space. He's after Commander Kruger, but he can't go through the wormhole himself, so he sends a robot in his place. And we also learn he has a contact on Earth. Who could that be? Back on Earth, Z uses her self-replicating ability to help Jack loot some clothes. As they're leaving, a panicked alien gives them a metal thing. He says it's important and not to let them get it. Jack and Z don't know what it is and assume it's worthless. They toss it in the truck anyway. They turn just as the robot from the other side of the wormhole runs after the alien and apparently kills him. At SPD headquarters, the cadets are given SPD morphers. Cat demonstrates a secondary utility of the morphers. They can determine guilt or innocence. She asks who ate the last slice of cake and points it at Boom. It zaps him and traps him in a tiny card. Cat leaves him there. Alright then. Jack and Z are handing out stuff from their truck, and Jack finds the metal thing from before and throws it away, thinking it's worthless. Suddenly, the cadets show up. A fight breaks out as they try to apprehend Jack and Z. Suddenly, the robot appears with a bunch of drones. Jack and Z escape in the confusion, while the cadets stand their ground against the new foes. SPD's premiere is amazing, setting up so many new and unique concepts to Power Rangers. It's probably the biggest departure from anything that's come before. SPD has one of the best themes of not just the Disney era, but the whole show. It really feels like a return to the high-energy rock of the old MMPR days. A big reason for that is the artist behind the theme is Ron Wasserman himself, the guy behind the Mighty Morphin theme and many of the insert songs. He did music on and off for Power Rangers up until In Space. Of all the things Neo Saban and Hasbro kept trying to bring back from the old days, oddly Ron Wasserman wasn't one of them until the 30th anniversary special. The crappy Disney stock music that was prevalent throughout Ninja Storm and Dino Thunder, thankfully, is a lot less here. There's still little bits and pieces of it here and there, but for the most part, it's all original music, or at least it's different stock music, and it's really nice. SPD's Ranger teams are structured interestingly. Not only are there at least 2 squads, but there's also multi-generational Rangers. Sky says his father was a Red Ranger. The A Squad Rangers are superiors to the B Squad, another element unique to SPD. In other seasons, Ranger teams are considered about equal. This power structure is similar to what General McKnight thought the Cyborg Rangers should have been to the Lightspeed Rangers. The characters are all strong, everyone is clearly distinct, and no one feels like they're just there to be there. The only character who comes off a bit weak is the main villain. He's hard to understand, and we don't learn anything about his goals and motivations. Maybe that's just being saved for later. We don't learn what the robot, credited as Bluehead, wanted with the metal thing, again, probably saved for later. This is part 1 of a 2-part premiere, after all. Jack and Z are interesting characters. We haven't had altruistic Robin Hood-type characters before, definitely not apparently homeless. The cadets each have unique personalities. Sky is a touch pompous, prideful, and arrogant, as well as sexist, an odd trait, considering this is supposed to be the future, and Power Rangers has had dozens of female leaders before. Or, well, at least 2 I can think of right off the top of my head, who are both pretty important. Sid is unfocused and a bit ditzy. I wonder why she's a part of SPD at all. She doesn't seem to want to be there or respect authority. Did SPD recruit people based solely on if they had civilian powers or not? Bridge is odd. He doesn't communicate well, but that doesn't stop him from taking every chance to talk. The character I like least is probably Kat. She comes off a bit mean when she traps Boom in a card, and there isn't much here to endear me to her either. Kruger is a stern commander. At times, I think he tries too hard to come off as tough. I'm curious what his connection with the bad guys is. I like Boom. He's apparently an adept martial artist, and I wonder why he isn't part of the Ranger teams. I've tried to be as unbiased as I can so far, but now I want to talk about the visual aesthetic. Some of it I like, some of it, I definitely don't. I like the urban environment. Occasionally we'd see busy industrial urban areas, but this is not only in an urban area, but the slums. Boarded up buildings, piles of trash, even homeless people. SPD is one of those sci-fi shows where the future isn't portrayed as a utopia. It's grimy, and there's a clear social unevenness. It's quite a contrast to the mostly clean future of Time Force, where, sure, there was a crime wave and a mutant insurgency, but otherwise shown to be a pretty nice time to live. I love the urban setting. What I like less is the sterile environment of SPD headquarters. It's too clean, too lifeless, gray. The urban slums are gray too, but there's a lot more going on visually. The SPD cadet uniforms would also look better with some color, even some highlighted lining like the Operation Overdrive uniforms would look better for me. The only morphed Rangers we see in this episode are the A Squad. In a vacuum, the designs work well enough. They're a bit busy in spots, but overall, they work fine. In the context of Power Rangers, though, the in-space helmets are something I can't ignore. SPD being a sci-fi themed season, though these helmets probably do work the best if they're going to recycle old helmets. They're definitely a better choice than, say, Lost Galaxies. The bodysuits are basic black with some armor. The chest armor is recycled from motocross gear from Ninja Storm. Not knowing that, it looks fine, but to someone who has seen Ninja Storm, it's a little distracting. The A-Squad suits are also reminiscent of the VR Troopers Battle Grid suits and how they reused Red Mighty Morphin helmets with new bodysuits. I don't like Kruger's head. It's too bulky for his body, the eyes look cartoony, his dreadlock hair looks unnatural. It's an impressive animatronic, but there's just a lot that feels off with it. I don't know, there's just something about it that doesn't look right, or feel right, or move right. I don't care for the civilian powers. They look fine, the effects are good, I just don't care for the concept. Did all these characters come into contact with Dino Gems? Are they of alien descent? Now some little things I want to talk about. Disney was cracking down on supposed violence in Power Rangers and didn't want the Rangers having sidearms that looked like guns. What we got were quite literally sidearms that were held against the Rangers' raised arms. Unusual looking, but creative, and I liked them. The alien who gives the metal thing to Jack gets murdered, apparently. It's off-screen, we see an explosion and we don't see him again. Though it's kind of ironic, Disney wanted less violence, but then somehow allowed this. When Jack is handing stuff out, there's a guy in the background who looks like Titus from Final Fantasy. Huh. At least part of Babu's head is used for a background alien. Throughout SPD, there's a lot of old monsters that show up as background filler characters.
One of the really weird things in SPD that nobody ever seems to talk about is that monster that Boom is dressed as at the beginning of the episode. It looks a lot like a Horrorland horror monster from Goosebumps. Yeah, that's what it always looked like to me. They just replaced the horns with dreadlocks. And when I was younger, I thought Mesagog looked like one of the creeps from Goosebumps.
The specific year SPD takes place isn't specified here, but eventually it will be revealed it takes place in 2025. Z says that she and Jack have been living on the streets for 5 years, so they'd be in their late teens or early 20s in the present. SPD's premiere is a strong introduction, and hopefully the quality continues. I haven't watched SPD in a few years, and I'm hoping my opinion of it will improve, because like Dino Thunder, it's one of those seasons that in the past I have not liked. Like at all. It's a crazy popular season, and I kinda see the appeal. It's just so much of the show is not for me. Yeah, I'm hoping that, like Dino Thunder, watching it, analyzing it more closely, I'll develop a bit more of an appreciation for it. There was a lot of things in Dino Thunder that initially I really didn't like, but on this next watch around, I did come around to really liking some of it. So, that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.
If I was to appoint Sid as Red Ranger, would you follow her into battle?
Sir, she's a girl.